Hello everybody. As you may have noticed, I didn't do my free-to-win account this week. I didn't go through my free-to-play run. And instead, what I'm going to do is bring you a draft. I will be going through it later this week, but it's so close to the end of the season, and we want to see how high we can climb. I'm going to wait until the last day, and then we're going to put it out there. So hope that you guys will enjoy a little bit of a draft in the meantime, and let's get started. We'll go through some picks. Ooh, well, we have a legend. It's actually just a good card, too. It's not crazy, but it's pretty solid. Solid metal. But I like a lot of Justice cards. Spirit Blade Stalker had got a nerf, but it's really, really good still. It's expensive from what it used to be. It used to be pay 5 to give one of your units +1/+1 in lifesteal. But it's important because it's a permanent thing. There's no way for them to really remove the +1/+1. They can silence it, but they won't, and it'll just remove the lifesteal. It won't give the +1/+1 out. It's also just like a good body anyways. 2/4 is pretty solid to stop a lot of aggro, so it's kind of nice. Shielded Short Barrel is another card that I like. Giving Aegis onto a creature is really solid. If you have any flyers, a lot of games are won by getting a flying unit and then just making it too large for your opponent to deal with. Because there's not a ton of really, really good removal right now. And then even if they have the good removal, giving it Aegis tends to stop them from being able to get rid of it. Because 2 removal spells is pretty hard to stack together. Another card that I really like here is Battlefield Scavenger. It's Minotaur Grunt, which was the Justice 1/3 Warcry for 2. Exact same card, except this one also has the ultimate of pay 4 to draw a Valkyrie from your Void and give it Warcry. The Minotaur was really good, so Battlefield Scavenger is awesome. I think out of all of these, I'm still just going to take the Hammer. It might be the weakest card. Like, it's good, but it might be the weakest out of the cards that I'm naming. I don't know, it does kill things. And killing things is hard to come by. Alright, you know what, I'm going to take the Hammer. It's also not something that they can really respond to because they can't play spells on your turn, so you'll make sure that you can kill something. Copper Hall Porter, if we're going to stay in Justice, is okay. It's certainly very annoying. It's hard for any aggro decks to get through it without giving you a little bit of value. It's kind of nice. Serene Excavator is fine. But you really need to be Praxis for it to work out, and then you need a lot of the right cards. So I'm not super into it. Reinvigorate's a very medium combat trick, because most of the time it's going to give one of your creatures +1/+1, maybe +2/+2. And for 2 power, that's just not a good enough rate. Like, a really good rate is something like Finest Hour, which is 1, give +3/+3. You can see how this just doesn't quite stack up in the same way. It does ready it immediately, which is something to be aware of. You can basically ambush your opponents by attacking with something, and then re-ready it with Reinvigorate. So that's the thing. If you have big units, it works out a little bit better. But I'm not super excited about it. I'm just going to take the Porter. Now we have any other colors or anything looking good. Not particularly. Snow Pelting is okay. If you've got a lot of Yeti, it's actually really nice. 2 damage to an enemy is not a ton. But there's a lot of things that die to 2. And you can also use it to shoot your opponent in the face. You can't, you may notice, target the same enemy multiple times. So just to be aware of, it says like you can exhaust a Yeti to deal 2 damage to an additional enemy. So you have to target different things, which is unfortunate. Because otherwise, I mean, you could just burn your opponent out or something. Some pretty cool little tricks you could do with it. I'm going to take Crackshot Fugitive, though. It's not amazing, but a 2/2 for 2 is just fine, and getting +1/+1 for each weapon is really good. Ooh, there's that Spirit Blade Stalker. There's not really a lot else either, so I'm just going to take the Stalker. I do like Scrap Hound a lot now, by the way. This card's great. If you can get it early and you get a couple other Grenadins, it's just kind of nice. Making it into a 6/6 is not to be trifled with. This card is huge for 1. If you can make something a 6/6, it's really, really nasty. Now, let's go, I think, Flashy Duelist, I guess. There's definitely a chance for us to be Argenport. Argenport is one of the ones that goes together well. So Shadow and Justice. I don't love Haru, so blue-green. Red-green I'm not super big on. It's like white-green and Shadow and green are the colors that I really like. Haru is okay, but you have to have very specific cards. I'm going to take this Shielded Short Barrel. Argenport really goes well with Gunslingers, so we've already got Crackshot, Fugitive, and Flashy Duelist, and weapons. Those are kind of your two big things. Shielded Short Barrel. The Caltrops there is entirely unplayable, just as an aside, the rare. Now, all of these are pretty bad. Wild Rider can be okay. So I might as well just take Wild Rider. Ooh, Crownwatch Legionnaire is pretty solid. Lifesteal and Endurance, it's got really small stats, but if you've got some weapons to put on it, it becomes a really nasty threat. That being said, I might still just want this Shielded Short Barrel because it's so good. I'm just going to take the Short Barrel. And, ooh, Vainglory Patrol is okay. We're getting a little full up on 4-drops. But Vainglory, it's a Valkyrie. We're in the colors for Valkyries to matter. I'm going to take it. There's really nothing else in that pack anyways. Now, Barkeep's Friend, I guess. Ooh, Repulsive Gorger is actually awesome. Giving all of your opponent's unit -1/-1 is a huge fact. It's not letting you trifle play. And Adaptive Predator. This is one of my absolute favorite cards. If you can hit your opponent with it, it's pretty much game over. They can't recover from it very often. And there's a lot of ways to get little tricks from it. You can do things like give it Killer, and it just smashes through so that they can't stop it from getting additional battle skills. Or you can do different things like Ice Bow is a good one, because it deals 1 damage to the enemy player. There's ways to get it through. Even something like Levitate. I think it's Adaptive Predator. I mean, Justice is Fallen Oni. Or sorry, Shadow is Fallen Oni. And Cabal Slasher. Justice is Horn Grinder, and these are all pretty bad. Like, you're never going to gain armor for it to really be useful. Fallen Oni and Slasher, too. I mean, we even have a Hammer of Authority. Like, we have a way to gain armor. I still don't think Horn Grinder is good. I'm just going to take Adaptive Predator. I don't know that I'll switch into blue for it, but certainly something to keep in mind. Wow, and that's a Memory Dredger. Memory Dredger is nasty. If they can't block it, getting a unit with cost 2 or less is insane. Because it basically means all of your units that are 2 or less are unblockable, or you just keep getting them back. Like, you just keep attacking with Copper Hall Porter. They block it, they give you a Justice Sigil, and you just get it back. If they don't block it, you just deal 2 damage. Really, really bad situation for your opponent to be in. So we're just going to take the Memory Dredger. There was a Longshot Marksman in that pack too, which was good, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely what I want. Skeeter is okay. And it's really good with Shielded Short Barrel. We want to have some flyers, and we can just protect this thing. It's really good in a race because it has the lifesteal. Really does need a weapon, though. Roosting Owl got a nerf. It used to be 2/4, but it's still pretty good, I would say. Sorrow's Shroud could be okay. I don't love it. The stats on it for a weapon are pretty low. It's just got, like, the when it wielders die, you gain life, but that's so medium. Like, that, I don't really care. If my unit dies, I mean, the life gain's probably irrelevant. Cobalt Ring, Swear Vengeance. Amber Ring is solid, but way out of what we want. Noble Firemane is awesome, but, like, those are definitely the colors we're not in. Alright, and nothing really here. I'll take, like, Ace Knuckle Jotun in case we still go Primal. Speaking of still going Primal, Dragon Breath is really solid. So, you might be wondering, like, well, what do you mean still go Primal? You've just been picking up all these Shadow cards. I think that the best way to draft a lot of the time is to leave yourself really open and almost just take the best card out of every pack until you're, like, 100% locked in, where there's just no chance that you can change. Ooh, Inspire Obedience. It's a slow removal spell. Really slow at 7. But it is a removal spell. It does kill things. And right now, if you look, we have Dragon Breath in Primal and nothing else. Just literally nothing. So it might be Inspire Obedience. Skeeter is also okay, but With so few ways to kill things, I'm going to take the Inspire. We've got a lot of 7s, but if we cut out Primal, because we're playing Shadow, then it gets a lot easier. Trailblaze, in case we're still going Primal. And same with the Spell Shield. We might also be able to Splash, we'll have to see. Suffocate. Suffocate's solid. I also like Blackguard Sidearm. Good weapon. We were talking about how we need weapons for some of our units, especially the Skeeter. Crackshot Fugitive is another one that would like us to have weapons. Generally, if you're going Argenport, there's a few bonuses that you'll pick up later too. Like, we should still get a couple more in the last pack. Things like Rooftop Vigilante if we're lucky. Blackguard, Argenport, Suffocate. Honestly, Seek Power is really solid, because it's certainly possible for us to play like Shadow and Justice and then run a Dragon Breath as removal because we have so little. So like that's certainly a thing, and it makes it easier for us to play those cards if we have a Seek Power. I think I just want to go Suffocate though. Suffocate or Blackguard. Take the Suffocate. It's good for getting rid of flyers. There's a lot of flyers that'll have 3 or less power, and we really need to kill them. Soldier, like Sky Snapper is a good example. Blood Beetle, Scheme. I'm going to take the Argenport Soldier. We don't have a ton of 2-drops, and it's just a decent rate. 3-2 is good. Subvert to steal a card from our opponent's hand at random. That's a really fun card, but not necessarily a very good card. Morningstar is an awesome card. This card is just great stats. +3/+3 is awesome. But I can't really take that. I'm going to take the Finest Hour. It's possible that I could take the Seek Power there. Ooh. Ooh. Feeding Time is one of the absolute best removal spells. I could definitely splash a little bit of Primal just for Dragon Breath in this. Yeah, I'm going to do it. It removes any chance for your opponent to be able to, like, get their creature back or get value out of it. They can't entomb or anything like that because it silences the creature first by transforming it into a pig. So it just becomes a 2/2 with no abilities. So even if it had some kind of, like, oh, if this dies, then, uh-oh, you're in trouble. Nah, no, not anymore. Feeding Time just nukes that. I think Trickster's Cloak. Again, I'd have to splash for it, but same with Twilight Raptor. Sabotage is terrible. So, sure. Xenon Destroyer. Xenon Destroyer is good if you can have weapons for it. I'll grab it. It's certainly possible. Back Alley Bouncer. Dark Return is actually really good. I like Dark Return a lot. A lot of this game can end up being about stacking a bunch of things onto a single creature. And Dark Return gets it back. Plus, it's really good with things like Spirit Blade Stalker, anything with an ultimate, because you can reuse the ultimate. So if you play Spirit Blade Stalker, ultimate it, and then you kill it, like it dies somehow, you can like attack and get your opponent to have a good trade kind of thing. So they're like, oh, okay, well, I'll kill it. Then you can just Dark Return your Spirit Blade Stalker, and the ultimate refreshes, so you're able to use it again. Towering Terrazon is huge. Card is actually really good. Its stats are just really high. Ooh, Scavenging Vulture is okay. It's a 1/1 flyer for 2, yes. But it becomes a 2/1 pretty easily, and that's fine. It's not, like, insane, but it's definitely a playable card for us. And that late, that's all we can ask for. Dusk Caller to get Nightfall is okay. Auric Record Keeper is insane. 3 for a 4/4. With an ability. Like, and not a downside, just a straight-up upside. Really, really good. Does cost 2 colors, and we're not in the colors, so I don't think I can take it, but just mentioning it. Crownwatch Legionnaire is okay. I don't mind Valkyrie Bodyguard. It's really, really hard to attack with it, but it also stops you from dying in the air. It's just a really good defender. Nocturnal Kyrex is awful, by the way. I've just never had this card be very good. I'm just going to take the Valkyrie. And now I do like Unseen Agent, actually. Just slowly pecking away at your opponent can really add up. We do have Final Shot Rioter as well. Another really good defensive unit. I think I want the Unseen Agent, though. I like it a lot. Being able to put something like shielded short barrel or give it lifesteal can really put it over the top and win you a game. It seems like very little, but that very little adds up fast. Okay, Valkyrie Arcanist is just nuts. This card took a nerf, like, went from 5 to 6. And honestly, I'd probably play it at 7. This card's insane. It's so, so good. There's a 5-power 3/3 Injustice already that's got flying. And that was from the original set. And it was very playable. It wasn't insane, but it was definitely playable. With no other abilities. But the Entomb Create and Draw 3/3 Gemblade is huge. Like, really, really big. Because even if they kill it, they still have another threat to deal with. And it's just unreal. Crown Watch Legionnaire. Plus, like we said, weapons just kind of automatically slot into Argenport, and Valkyrie slot into Argenport, so it just synergizes very, very well with everything that you're going to be getting in that style of deck. Huge fan of the Valkyrie Arcanist. Crown Watch Legionnaire is fine. And we did just get some more weapons for it. Gun Wrestler, you're never going to be able to steal all weapons from an enemy unit. Even though we're talking about how our deck uses a fair number of weapons and that we want to do it, the odds that you get the right board where this does something are insanely low. And its stats aren't good anyways. Like, it's a 4/2. It's really not that great. Rampart Protector, you need a lot of Valkyries to make this work, and even then I don't think it's really worthwhile. Because your opponent just generally tries not to kill it, or kills this first. Trigger Man, though, is pretty solid. And when it's wielding a weapon, it becoming a 5/3 on the attack is very solid. Quick Draw is a good ability, so I'm just going to take it. And now, Maimed Watchwing for more Valkyrie shenanigans, but we don't really have any things that care about Valkyries. It cares about Valkyries because it'll get flying, but it can't block. Like, that's a huge deal. Not being able to block is massive. So I'm just going to take the Flashy Duelist. Plus, Flashy Duelist is a gunman, which means that we can bond it with this, play this for 2 off of Flashy Duelist, which is pretty sweet. I guess another one. I definitely am not playing 3. I'm certainly not playing 4. I'm just going to take Iceberg Warchief just because I can dust it later for more value. We basically have our deck. I think our deck is pretty solid, too. Nothing insane, but looking pretty good. This last pick, Umbran Coaxer, is not worth talking about. 2 toughness is just way too easy to deal with. It'll attack once and then die. You need some way to give it flying, and there's very little that does that. It's not worth it. So we'll cut that immediately. We have 29 cards right now. Splashing Feeding Time and Dragon Breath. You really don't want to be splashing a lot in a third color, but you can splash a little bit. I try and go 17 or 18 power in a deck like this because we have a bunch of 7 drops. So right now this is 16, which is just not acceptable. We're really, really low on 3s, so we probably can't cut any 3 drops. We can cut this 4. 4s we have a lot of. And Back Alley Bouncer is pretty awful. It suffers a bit from the Umbran Coaxer problem, where its toughness is just a little low. It would be a little bit better as a 3/4, but even then it's not great. Like, Horned Vorlunk is a time unit for 3/4 with Overwhelm, and it's just barely playable. I think that this is where I want to go. I'm pretty okay with just playing 17, and then 3 Primal, 7/7. It's a pretty even split. I think this is fine. I do wish that we had a Seek Power or something. I maybe should have gone for one of them. But I'm happy enough with the deck. Let's play some games.